A long time ago in a land far away, my young daughters took charge of my writing career. They looked me in the eye and said, "No more books, Daddy, until you write a kid's book." Living as I did in a household dominated by strong female characters, even our dog and guinea pig were female, I took their advice seriously, he says, winking at Brenda. And so I turned my back on writing nature books and hiking guides and went looking for a story. This was to be my first work of fiction. No footnotes, no references, all lies, and yet grounded on realities like this. I hunted far and wide across a vast and lovely landscape that has changed little since the end of the last ice age. Here I found a story working as a biologist in the diamond fields, keeping illicit notes in the back of a helicopter, notes that became a cat and mouse adventure story about grizzly bears and the biologist who chased them, finding their dens, slapping on collars, scooping their scats, collecting life-saving data for both bears and humans. I thank Dean Clough, Robert Mulders, Rob Gow, and many other bear biologists whose stories and images, heroics and fears fed my enchanted fiction factory. Glamorous work, isn't it? Bugs, snow, not to mention bears. Ultimately, I found a story about this bear, 777, named for the three-digit code on her satellite collar. Let's enter the private world of this mother bear and her cubs as they walk towards a very special place in their tundra kingdom. And so a reading from the 21st chapter of Tracking 777 entitled Victory Lake. They never do find the collar. By the time Benji flips the detonator key and pops it off, the family of bears is swimming across Victory Lake. The mother bear chooses the fastest route away from the mining camp, straight west, across the water. A slight electric pulse tickles her neck at the moment of detonation. For a split second, a silvery necklace of tiny bubbles adorns the swimming bear's neck. The heavy collar falls away and sinks like a stone, almost bopping a good-sized lake trout on the way to the bottom of the lake. From way down there in the cold, dark muck, it faithfully transmits a steady stream of beeps to a satellite spinning 500 miles above the Earth. And in reality, not fiction, these data are flashing across computer screens in warm, bug-free offices. As one bear biologist told me, quote, "Technology can take the field out of fieldwork." Meanwhile, back at the story, halfway across Victory Lake is a huge esker that sticks into the water from both sides. Because of its location in the middle of a big lake and its link to an esker highway hundreds of miles long, this sandy bottleneck acts like a biological magnet for migrating caribou and the host of animals that follow them. Swimming freer now without the drag of her bulky collar, the mother bear steers straight for the esker. It slopes out of the water to a tall granite boulder sticking straight out of the ground. On its crown is a wide gash carved eons ago when this lone sentinel of the tundra drew a lightning bolt from the sky. As the three bears clamber ashore and shake walls of water on each other, an Arctic hare shoots out from under the rock. It watches the bears lick drops of water off each other's faces until the cubs catch its scent and give chase up the hill. Their mother shows no interest in the hare and woofs them back to the beach. She wants to show them something special about this place. She noses them behind her, then starts slowly ambling for the rock. Padding through the fragrant red and green mosses, she picks up a pronounced trail made not by caribou, wolves, or foxes. She leads her cubs up a path worn deep into the tundra by generations of grizzlies, each walking precisely in the steps of the one that went before. The cubs do their best to stretch out their little legs and plant their paws in the huge print craters trod by their mother and her mother and thousands of grizzlies before them. Somehow the cubs know, even on their first visit, that this trail is theirs and theirs alone. It's a short parade to the rock. The mother bear carefully sniffs all around its base. She reads the scent inscription of every grizzly that has passed this way over the last few weeks. A young male and his sister, another mother and her 2 yearling cubs, an old aunt of hers who she thought was dead long ago. She rears up on her hind legs to rub her neck and shoulders against the rock's well-polished surface, then collapses into the willows. With satisfied grunts, she digs and scratches at the chronic itch spots and matted fur that for so long were hidden and out of reach below her collar. As she rubs, her forepaws wave back and forth before her, totally relaxed. Soon her whole body is almost dancing with pleasure. She raises her muzzle to the sky at the exquisite sweetness of a good scratch against a much treasured bear rock. The cubs get into the act and rock and roll beside her, trying to share in their mother's joy. She playfully knocks them both over with one kick, then settles down beside the rock, making soft cooing sounds in her throat. The cubs crawl to her and suckle. Eh, Emil? With a triumphant sense of belonging, the mother bear leans back and quietly surveys the circle of her tundra kingdom. Then, unleashed from the probing eyes and ears of human beings, the bear family rises, stretches, and melts into the vast Arctic wilderness. Now, compared to other bears in other parts of the world, our tundra grizzlies are champion walkers. Because they live on such relatively impoverished habitat, they must travel huge distances to find food, giving them the largest home range of any grizzly on Earth. One collared grizzly traveled more than 800 kilometers in 3 months, easily covering over 50 kilometers a day. So these are the illicit notes, honestly, that I kept in the back of a helicopter while working at the fledgling Ekati mine. And it was the creative wellspring for this book, Tracking 777.